Hey everybody, I collaborated with Annie Margarita Yang on 10 side hustles. She's also a YouTuber who talks about finances. She has a book, 1001 Ways to Save Money, and she's a self-starter on YouTube. And you've probably seen her really viral video, How to Save Money on Minimum Wage. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoyed this video. The first side hustle that we recommend is having a part-time job. You're probably thinking, are you serious? Just to work more?
I'm pretty sure before it was called a side hustle, people just simply called it a second job. I feel like side hustle is just a glorified term for second job.
Absolutely, right? But we want to be a little bit more specific about the parameters of your part-time job. So we think it's really important that it's something that you can kind of scale up or be able to have more than just minimum wage wherever you're at, right? So for example, I drive on the weekends. I get to choose. It's really flexible whether I want to deliver food, and most of the times I can make minimum wage, but I'm also making more than minimum wage based on the tips, right? So
wait, are you making like the $2.13 whatever it is minimum wage, or are you making like an actual minimum wage for your state?
Oh wow,
with tips on top.
Yes, absolutely. So the minimum wage right now in California is $13. So, for example, Postmates, I'll make $13, and on top of that, maybe like $15 an hour or $17. It really depends.
Wow, I mean that's really good, because you definitely can make more than 13. I mean, that's the bottom.
Then having a part-time job with tips is really good for having multiple streams of income, especially for me, who I'm considered I would say a seasonal worker. I'm a substitute teacher, so we have 1 week spring break, a month-ish winter break, and 2 months summer break. So I'm jobless during those times. So it's really
being
important.
a delivery driver is really flexible. So you basically get to work when you want, or what is it like?
Yeah,
does someone else give you the schedule, or do you decide?
Good question. So for those third-party apps such as like Postmates, Uber Eats, you really get to decide whenever. Actually, you get to decide that time. For example, if I'm off work and I feel like picking up some food but from my work to home, I can just literally open my app and click start, and then it'll start searching for orders for me to start picking up.
That's great, because you get like it's pretty much guaranteed income. You know, I feel like some side hustles, it's not really a guaranteed form of income. It's like you might make money, you might not, but doing delivery, you're definitely going to make money for sure.
Right, and I didn't think about that.
Almost everyone has a car. Almost everyone has a car.
Almost everyone does, and if you don't, you can always go on a bicycle or electric scooter if you have that too. I've seen people.
I feel like you can't carry much on an electric scooter, but okay.
I know. The next side hustle is flipping items. So this can range from a lot of things. I used to flip free items, and you can find these from a lot of different places. You can find it from Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, sometimes really cheap items from thrift stores and or garage sales.
If it's free though, like, you know, I'm in some like free stuff Facebook groups, and I always feel like since it's first come first serve, how often do you get to like pick up those free items? Like, how often is it that you're the one who ends up picking it up?
Good question. I think from my experience, it's kind of been 50-50, because I swear I feel like some people live on that place. And I kind of just go in and check once in a while, and I'm like, oh, it's cute, but then somebody already commented on it. So it really depends how much time you have and how lucky you are, because other things too, if there's a lot of people interested, let's say, in a free Keurig, then some people will...
Oh yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah, oh my god, oh please. I can use it or I can flip it.
But what if the person lives far away? Is it worth your time to do this?
Good question. So that does play a factor, right? But usually when I'm flipping items, these Facebook groups have parameters. So for example, if I live in a city, let's pretend I live in a city called Rushmore, it'll be maybe a radius of about 10 to 15 miles. But I end up getting items from somebody who lives like a mile away from me.
Wow, that's really close then. It's like less than 5 minutes drive.
Right, exactly. And I will say, like, a lot of these can be good hits. I've found books before for free, and I was able to flip them on eBay. other reselling websites as well. But I will say this does take a little bit of more time and research.
And how profitable can this be? Because I don't think I would have much confidence in picking the right item, which I think is important. So is it like it takes some time to develop the idea of what's valuable enough to flip and make a profit off? Like,
right, I agree, right? I think it can happen pretty quickly. I think if somebody just had a general sense of the market, for example, Keurigs are really popular, or books about finance, like nothing too esoteric, like quantum physics of Jupiter or something, then I think the appeal will be good. This is something, I feel like this is for people who kind of like a little hunt and kind of like gamify money. It's like, how much can I make? You can definitely make bigger sales margin of like maybe 30%, maybe all the way up to 100% or more. The next side hustle is getting into studies or focus groups. So what I mean by studies is typically companies and or organizations and schools will hire people temporarily for an hour or two and pay them for their like surveys, thoughts, and experiments. So you can typically find this on universities if you're a student, but also companies are kind of emailing people about this too. For example, when I was in college, I was really desperate for money, so I was sign up for these psychology studies, and they would test me on my language and all of that. But if you're not a student, which I totally get, something that's more open to the public is focus groups.
How much did you normally get paid for something like that when you did it in college?
Good question. Actually was about the cheapest I've ever got was $20. And that was really good for us for an hour.
How much time was that? Like, 1 hour?
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes maybe an hour and a half or up to 2 hours. So somebody who's 18, like, wow, that's so much money.
Because minimum wage is $13 an hour.
Yeah. And back then it was probably what, $12 or $11.
And you're on campus anyway, so you don't really have to go that far, I guess.
Yes, exactly. If it's at your school.
Have you tried the focus groups after college?
Yes, I have. So just a heads up with focus groups, this is more available to the public and it's more specific to companies testing out their products or services. So they're looking for specific demographics, and you can sign up if you just literally Google focus groups on Google, it'll pop up. But this one is a little bit harder to get into. I've applied for maybe a dozen, and I was able to get a call back for one of them. These pay a lot more, so I think that why it's more difficult. For example, some focus groups pay little as $55 an hour. They'll give you a Visa.
Wow.
They'll give you a Visa card. Yes, or up to like $150. I
do have a friend who used to work in a law office, and she had this coworker who was living paycheck to paycheck, and constantly to try to make more money, he tried to do the focus groups.
How'd that go?
So he would like leave work for his lunch break for more than an hour. And come back really late, and no one noticed he was gone. But he somehow managed to get them all the time.
The next side hustle is Printables, selling online PDFs, resources such as PowerPoints and video courses. Is a really great side hustle, which I haven't started yet, but I'm really planning to do. And I think Annie can talk a little bit more on this.
So I don't really have any printable PDFs for sale right now, but after hearing about this idea from Davi, I was like, wait, I could totally sell this stuff for like the financial stuff that I do. I could sell budgets, I could sell worksheets. And there's something that there's a video that I made on my channel on how to make your family emergency binder, where I just gave away this checklist of stuff to include in your family emergency binder. And I never thought to try to make money off of this. But honestly, I could keep the checklist for free and make a PDF for templates to use in the binder itself to fill out your information. And I'm sure people would be willing to pay for something like that. And that's just another avenue for me to make money on the side, which I never even thought of.
Super excited for Annie, to hear about this and potentially or eventually, monetize this. So for example, exactly what Annie was talking about, a lot of people, surprisingly, at least to me, pay.
Surprising to me too.
Yeah, right.
I'm so used to free stuff. I'm so cheap.
I know. I never buy this type of stuff. I'll just make it myself. Like for example, if you have a lot of knowledge in one area of your life, such as let's say you're a medical student. Not many people are medical students, so let's do something more general. If you're really good at making, cute planners or cute journal entries, budgeting, Google Sheets, etc., then you can actually really monetize this. You can, if it's colorful, it's beautiful, people like it, you can put it on your website and sell it, or go onto Etsy. And some people have made 5 figures up to like 6 figures selling their PDFs. And while it's not quite passive because you have to do a lot of work in the front, it's still passive in terms of once you put in those hours, you kind of just let it go and you see how much money you can rack up.
And the best thing is, a lot of the work is put in the beginning, and after that it's kind of passive. You still got to sell it, but most of the work is front loaded. And on top of that, since it's a digital product that you're selling, you don't need to constantly hold an inventory of physical merchandise to sell.
Yes. So that's why you can like price your items for relatively cheap, because you don't have all that overhead, right?
Yeah, so I think it's extremely profitable.
And it just depends on how you market it, or like how many people are willing to buy it. I think, Annie, you have some experience in this. It's not typically like a shorter PDF, but you have sold a digital product before, right?
Yeah, I sell my book on Amazon, 1001 Ways to Save Money.
Yes. Are you seeing returns still to this day?
Yeah, to this day. I haven't actively sold it. I always just tell my viewers at the end of my video, hey, if you like my channel, you like my stuff, just support me financially by buying my book. And I always just pitch it at the end, so I don't try to sound too salesy and try to push.
Yeah, I get it.
But surprisingly, last year I made a little over $1,000 in sales. And I mean, that's something I did like 4 years ago. I made this thing 4 years ago, and I'm just shocked. It's still making me money today.
That's amazing, considering too how long it's been and how little effort you put in terms of like advertising it, because it's already to your followers. So there could be a lot more room for growth if you wanted to. But
yeah, my goal next year is to put it into bookstores, possibly after this thing is over. But
that's awesome. I'm so happy for you for that.
Thank you.
So yes, in summary, if you have a skill, for example, if on Teachers Pay Teachers there's free websites, or something you already know a lot about or will want to know a lot about, you don't wait until you think you're an expert. Everyone knows a little bit about something. Our last side hustle that we recommend is creating a micro business. So what does this mean? In the last year, a lot of small businesses have been popping up just solely online. For example, we've had a lot of friends or people we know that have started online bakeries, online nails, eyelash extension businesses, and other services. And I think this is so smart.
You don't need a storefront. You don't need to pay rent. You work out of your own home. And you also kind of set your own hours too, right?
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Flexible.
Absolutely. And I think one really good example is the bakery, Halia Bakery, that is in San Diego. I feel like the benefit and advantage of having your micro business at home is that you can, like Annie said, you set your hours. And I think in addition to that, they actually decide, hey, these are the only times you can pick up. So it's not like a storefront where you have to open up from like 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. and hope customers come in within those, slow hours.
Yeah. And hope you've made enough for the day.
Yes,
or
exactly.
What if you made too much? I mean, the product kind of goes bad, don't you think?
You're right. It does go bad, and they eventually have to throw it away.
Yeah, so this is great because people just pre-order and you make enough to sell. And I also, so regarding bakery, I do have this friend from high school. Her name's Shelly, and her Instagram is Sweeter Than Sweet NYC. And so she makes like these baked goods, but she makes them really cute. She decorates them, and instead of calling them like just, pastries or whatever, she calls them edible art because they're just so cute. And I've told her before, like, you need to monetize this. This is so cute. Like, I would pay big money for something like this because it would make an excellent gift, you know, for either the holidays or for birthdays, anniversaries, or just to say congratulations to someone. Or if I want to impress a client, I would get something like that. And I could totally see, like, what you're saying. She could monetize this, but the way I would go about doing it is I wouldn't make the stuff from scratch. You know, I'd be a little more creative because what she's selling isn't the food. She's selling the art, right? I would make it so that I'm selling the decoration. So I would just head over to Costco and buy like some plain unfrosted cupcakes or muffins or whatever, you know, plain donuts, and make them pretty. You know, that's what I would think. Buy something from Costco for like $5 a dozen, and then charge your design fee.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Dang.
I think that would be the smarter way to go about doing it.
You're thinking big bucks. No, I agree. I think too, I wonder if people who are actually really like the design and the taste, what Shelly could even do too, just to ramp up her business, is that they have, she can actually hire people to make her recipes. So for example, if she is just overloaded with so many requests that she and maybe her family or friends who are helping her, I don't know who's helping her, they can't help her as much, she can actually hire a kitchen of people and they make it for her.
Wow. So then her focus is only on the design and not the actual doing it part. Yeah.
Exactly, because she's already done the recipe. And she knows how to bake. So if she wanted to, that's beautiful. She actually has that freedom just to focus on whatever she wants to focus on.
Yeah, I feel like creative people like that, they have a hard time imagining how to monetize their creativity. So you kind of just have to think outside of the box, like what I said with Costco, or hiring someone after you figure out what the recipe should be, you know, and taking pre-orders instead of having a storefront. And I can totally imagine someone like her heading over to like a restaurant that sells dessert on their menu and going like, hey, you know, nowadays people they want to order food that's Instagram worthy because everything like you eat, people are taking pictures of it. So I could design your food in a way that is going to be Instagram worthy. You know, tell that to the restaurant and just charge your design fee. And that's just one way to monetize it. I could also think of it for like, you know, how you go to the grocery store and you see Entenmann's or like whatever's like manufactured processed food. Yes. Like you know, if I were like aiming bigger and trying to expand and make even more money, I would go after those corporations. That's, you know, I would start really small, you know, like what I would say is a micro business. So what I was saying, very, very small, start with extremely small and doable. And then after you make some money, expand from there.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is like one of my favorite recommendations because it's just really empowering to see people, like regular people, you know, take charge of their skills and monetize it and like make finances better for them. So if you have a skill, we really recommend you start a micro business. And we say micro instead of small because with small business associated with like storefront, you still have to have employees necessarily. But with micro business, you can just start on your own first and take it wherever you want to take it. So I know we said it will be 10 side hustles, but we have 5 on this video, and we're going to have the extra 5 on Annie's video. So you can check her out on YouTube at Annie Margarita Yang, and you'll see the other 5 side hustles. Check her out. She has a book on 1,001 ways to save money, and she's really awesome. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.